our parents to see whether or not they would be comfortable sending their children back to school, or whether or not they would opt to stay in the all virtual model. And we also went through a polling process with our teachers. So we are comfortable that we will have probably less than 50% of our students return grades pre-K through 5 in the 8 elementary schools, which is a good number because that allows for smaller class sizes, and it will allow the children to maintain that 6 feet of social distancing that the CDC has recommended. So students who opt for in-person learning will attend 5 half days per week. Each morning, parents will complete an online screening questionnaire before sending their child to school. So we're working on that questionnaire that will be in Genesis. And as we come closer to the October 13th date, I think I may have failed to mention that. We're looking at Tuesday, October 13th as the reopening date. So as we move closer to that date, we will disseminate more information to our parents and the Linden community. During the in-person learning, staff and students will be required to wear masks, and guidelines set forth in the reopening plan will be followed daily. The district, starting in March, prior to me becoming superintendent, they started to purchase PPE. Uh, to date, we have spent over $700,000 on face masks for every student and every teacher. We have our disinfectant, we have Clorox wipes, we have the uh, electrostatic machines that will sterilize and wash down, clean high touch areas, high touch point areas. And we also purchased 25,000 MERV 8 filters, which we will replace every 3 months. And those MERV 8 filters go into our ventilation system, and they capture dust particles and mold particles, and essentially help to keep the air free of airborne pathogens. So we have really worked hard, the custodial staff, the facility staff, teachers, our administrators, we all have been working overtime to create the best and the safest reopening plan for both our students as well as teachers. So a complete guideline, a one-page guideline that I'm reading from. It will be posted on the website. We will also email this out to our parents. We will translate this document in the 4 primary languages spoke here in Linden: English, Polish, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. And it will give a breakdown of the start and stop times for each of the elementary schools. So besides that, uh, as you know, COVID has really taken over our workday. And I do have a 100-day plan as far as dealing with academics that I would like to come back at another time and discuss in further detail. But if you have any additional questions for me or comments, I am more than happy to answer those for you.
I do have a question about the masks.
Okay.
This is for the little kids, right? How strict are the teachers going to be? Because I'm going to say, I'll tell you that in years past with the uniforms, there was so much pettiness as far as the collar shirt and blah blah blah. But with a small person
Mhm.
have the mask on for those 4 hours,
Mhm.
the challenge, and like I'm just concerned because my nephews are going to be in that group. I have
Mhm.
a K nephew and the first grader, so and one of them has a problem with the mask on for so long. So how strict is it going to be? And if there is a student who has a health problem,
Mhm.
still be allowed to come in and maybe be segregated to a degree if they
Mhm.
wear a mask.
Well, we know that'll be a challenge, especially in the pre-K, K grades, as well as our self-contained and some special education classes. Some of our students, they have difficulty keeping things on their face, even some adults. So if students have a medical waiver, we will have to make the accommodation for them, whether it be the class that they are in has a reduced class size, so that if you are more than 6 feet away from someone, you do not have to wear a mask. Um, Looking at the numbers, a lot of our, and I can't give you the numbers off the top of my head, but we do have some classrooms where only 3 parents have agreed to send their children back. So we may be looking at, in some instances where classes are so small that we literally have 3 or 4 kids. On the flip side, we do have some classes in some schools where the parents and the children are very excited to come back. And so we have to even those classes out. How strict we will be, we will try to be as strict as possible as far as continuity. It will not be to the point where um, we would exclude someone. If it becomes a problem where they're not comfortable, it's a difference between a child being just unruly or disrespectful. Some of our teachers have brought that up as a possible problem on the secondary level. But if we're talking about small children who just by the nature of their age, we are going to work with them as best as possible. And if it takes us meeting with parents to discuss whether or not in-person learning is the best model for that student, we will do that. But we will work with parents and students. Our teachers are aching for our students to return. And I know a lot of students are really ready to get back into the schools, but we want to do it safely. I can't hear you.
I'm so efficient with the mute button, right? I don't have any other questions here. Before Dr. Hazelton goes, does any panelists want to just chime in? Tanya?
I did. Hi, Dr. Hazelton. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I did have one question, and I don't know if I missed it. For the other grade levels, I know you said the beginning is going to be elementary levels going back, but when we start integrating and getting in those middle school and high school students back in, do parents have the option to keep them home? Or are they all going to be required to go in? And if they can stay home, what is that going to look like for them throughout the day? Will they be in Zoom with the in-school students as well?
Okay, thank you for your question. So first, we're going to start with the elementary schools. Mm-hmm. That target date is October the 13th. That is our hard date unless something external happens, like a spike in COVID cases. The next phase for secondary schools, the 2 middle schools and the high school, will be around November the 14th or 15th, which is at the end of the marking period. As per Governor Murphy, all parents have the option of selecting all virtual. So pre-K through the 12th grade, if parents are not comfortable sending their children back to school, they have the option of remaining in that virtual setting. What we're going to do during the half-day sessions, the in-person, the students who are in person will receive instruction from a teacher that is in the room with them. And we are purchasing extra cameras and we are providing professional development to allow our teachers to also broadcast virtually to those students at home. So it will be live and synchronistic, I believe. Yes, so okay. Everyone will receive the same instruction at the same time. And we are starting with the half-day model, where as in the afternoon, teachers will be able to provide extra help to those students who may need it, and also conduct lessons in small breakout sessions.
Okay. And then I know you have to go, but just one more question, because I
Go ahead.
know, and I only got it from social media, is that I know Clark, I believe, had gone back, I think it was certain days, half a day, and it was only for a couple weeks, and there was already 1 or 2 COVID cases.
Mhm.
How are they going to be monitored? Now, I know a lot of people out there are paranoid because it's seasonal time, you know, so is it just allergies? Is it, you know, is it just a cold, you know? So how is that going to be monitored? And I know just from when my son was in elementary school, you know, head lice, that was communicated through phone call or email to the whole entire, you know, classroom, parents. How is that communication going to look in case we do come up with something?
Well, we're going to work with our local health department as far as contact tracing.
Okay.
We do have an isolation room for students who may become ill and they may have COVID-like symptoms. We are not able to test. However, if a child is exhibiting COVID-like symptoms, we will require them to go to their pediatrician for a test. We will go into quarantine when a positive COVID test comes back to us, and that will be communicated with us, to us, excuse me, by the health department. And in the plan, the guidelines, if one student in a class becomes infected with COVID, that class is going to quarantine. We have selected the number 5 as far as when we would close down the entire school building. Even with one infection of a single classroom, we would still continue with the cleaning, the daily cleaning of the schools. However, we would particularly focus on that classrooms and the different areas the child may have traveled within that school day. But on the elementary school level, the children are not moving. If they have specials like library or art, those teachers will push into the classroom. So there's very limited movement. We're not serving lunch in the schools. The kids will get a grab and go lunch before getting on the bus or walking home. And so whenever that, knock on wood, if it happens, the community will be notified immediately of the school not naming the child and the next steps that will be taken. But we are working very closely with the health department, and they are responsible for the contact tracing. They would work with that patient to see, to track their movement, not only in school, but throughout the community.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Go to your meeting. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon with some more updates. Our next meeting is in December.
Okay.
You'll come back to that if you have anything else that you want to talk about, or we're going to be excited about hearing, I don't know, something about in school, something.
Yeah, we have a lot of good things. We just have to get over this COVID hump. We have a board meeting tonight, so you're welcome to all join after this meeting. But once again, thank you very much for the invitation. It was a pleasure speaking with you all.
All right, have a good night. Thank you.
Too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And so with that, we're going to go to you, Ms. because you are our resident PTA mom for the County of Union. You are the president of the Union County Board of PTA, right?
Correct, yes.
And your son is in high school.
Freshman.
I know. So I remember those days, absolutely. And so if you don't know, if you haven't heard, Tanya is also a member of the column 2 team for the Board of Education. So she's running for the board. But Tanya, let me ask you a question, since I know you're meeting as well. There's a big hoopla going on right now in Trenton with regards to dating a flu shot. What are your thoughts on that?
What was it? You blacked out for a minute.
Mandating flu shots. Did you know? Well, I'm going to ask you, what do you think about that? Because I know And when my son was in school, when my 18-year-old was going to kindergarten, Linden mandated that he get a flu shot before he could be registered. So now it's at the State House. What are your thoughts on that? Private and public.
You know what, honestly, and it's been through our mind because I know they're working on a vaccination for COVID. I don't like the fact to mandate it unless we know that it is an actual cure, or we know that it's been fact checked and tested that it is going to prevent the disease, the infection, because I feel like we're using our children as guinea pigs, and I don't think that it's fair. I know myself personally, there's been years where I've had the flu shot and I've been okay. There's been years that I've gotten the flu shot and I've gotten sick. So, to mandate it, not until we know that it's 100% effective,
Yeah.
I don't really agree with it.
It's definitely not 100% effective. But
Right.
my doctor scared me into getting the flu shot. I never got the flu shot in my life. And I'm 49. I got it because she got me all scared. So.
And my sister-in-law just had my nephew got his flu shot. He is about to be 3, and he had a reaction from it last week. And she reached out to me. He had it was on his thigh. I know we usually get it in our arm, but it was the size of a baseball, a red lump, and it was hot to touch. And I mean, it cleared up within a few days, but the doctor did say it was a reaction to the flu shot.
Wow.
So.
So are you attending the county PTA tonight or the Linden Board of Ed tonight?
I actually have a Zoom for one of my committees that I'm on for the state, for the PTA. I sit on a few committees with them. I'm on the board of directors. I've been the Union County president now. I'm in my 2nd year for my term. But I sit on the Human Resources Committee. I also sit on the nominating committee. So right now we have a Zoom tonight to pick our chair people for our different committees tonight. So unfortunately, it's the same night as the board meeting. So I'm going to try to have the board meeting on the phone so I can listen and I can participate in my Zoom meeting. I wear many hats. So.
No, and I applaud you. Also, for the folks out there who are watching or who will see this later, I wanted to just say thank you to you, Tanya, because it was your efforts for the number of years working tirelessly for the safety of the children, not only at Seoul Middle School, but the children at the library and at School 1 are going to benefit from your insistence or continued efforts for safety. So if you don't know, East Henry Street, folks, is now a one-way coming in from Roselle all the way to Wood Avenue. And thank you, Tanya, for never giving up.
You're welcome.
That's a benefit.
Yes. So for those who are on, who normally watch or listen in on the council meetings, besides the Board of Ed meetings, I do have attended almost all of the council meetings for the past few years. And it was pretty eye-opening to me when my son started in Seoul, 4 years ago, that we were the only school in Linden that didn't have crossing guards. And I saw a lot of heads pop at that council meeting when I brought it to their attention. And I want to say within a matter of a few weeks, we had a plan in place, and they did put some crossing guards in there. I noticed that there were some in different other locations that were training new crossing guards. And I know for a while, even today, I think there's still a shortage on them. But I was relentless. And then we had talked about the one-ways around the school, because at drop-off and pickup time, we know those streets are very narrow when you have cars parked on both sides, buses coming through. For the safety of our children, just walking and crossing the streets. I mean, granted, we have the 4-way stop signs, but even those aren't the safest answer to a lot of our issues in town. We all know that. So I would like to say that I do have a say in, getting some of those things accomplished. So
That's right.
thank you,
You
Rhashonna.
No, listen. every person doesn't have to be elected to make a difference, and I believe that in my heart. And so just the fact that you have volunteered and you continue to volunteer is much appreciated. And you're now attempting to volunteer and serve on the board. So, I mean, I wish you best of luck with that.
Thank you.
So, does anybody have any questions for our liaison to the Union County PTA in the panel? Or anybody who wants to have a question, just type it in. Do you have anything else, Tanya, that you want to just alert us to when it comes to our children in schools?
No, that's it. I mean, Rhashonna, you have my contact information. So if anybody reaches out to you, I mean, please feel free. You know, the PTA, a lot of people think the PTA is just fundraising and selling popcorn and, you know, and we have that membership drive. We're advocates for the children. Some of the things that people don't realize is at the state level, we have representatives that are with the Department of Education constantly, with the governor's office constantly. And, you know, we have that representation. We have a say. We're advocates for all children. You know, I always say I gave birth to one, but I have hundreds, if not thousands of children in town that, you know, I've known through all my son's years in school. You know, that they remember the little things that we do for them. So I don't give up. I keep fighting and I keep my voice out there.
Well, you are appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my dear.
All right. Have a good night and
you too.
Soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you. So I'm here. We also have I don't know what let me just check because Mrs. Dirado from the Board of Elections was supposed to be here and she's not. But that's okay because I can speak to her issues. So in the meantime, we have our Director of Recreation, Mr. Dunhamn. Hi, Mr. Dunhamn. And we have our Health Officer. Nancy doesn't have video.
Good evening.
Okay. And so we have the police. I'm trying to get the lieutenant to turn her camera on so we can see her. And hey, Nilda from the Fifth Ward. I see you. So, Mr. Dunhamn, why don't you go ahead and give us some updates? We know that the city facilities are not open, but that recreation is, you know, engaging in lots of other items that can help and benefit the community during this COVID. So just, you know, give us some updates on what you got working for us.
Thank you for inviting me, and hello to the listeners and the viewing audience. Yes, for the fall, we have put together a variety of virtual classes that we hope the community would enroll and participate in. Some of them are a continuation from the programs we started back during the winter months back in January and February that we had at LMPC. The STEM classes, science, technology, engineering, and math classes, they were very popular back then. We brought the same instructor system back in, and we're offering a series of classes online. So I hope those individuals and new individuals will look at the flyer on our website and enroll in those STEM classes. You're going from coding to Roblox to Minecraft to YouTube creations. So I think those titles are very right up the alley of what the youth are looking for. And I hope that individuals will go online and look at them. Also online through Zoom and other platforms, we're doing a virtual chess program. We're doing a beginner and a beginner advanced class. In those classes, the instructor is willing to do the first class as a training session. And then from there, he has two platforms, one that he's going to use to do the actual instruction, and then the second one that he's going to use so the players or the registrants can play against each other. So that's very interesting also to have that going on. Continuing, we have some fine art classes lined up for the fall, a preschool drawing class, cartooning class, and an elementary drawing class. Also back in the winter, we offered two types of sewing classes. One was for adults and one was for youth. And again, we had that same instructor who's now going to offer one class each, once again for youth and adults. And she's going to do it virtual also. So for those people who registered back in the winter months who enjoyed her class, I hope again, they will look at what she's offering now and also enroll in those classes. Something else we're doing that ties into the board education and is new is the time management and a goal setting class, where individuals can sign up and the teacher will work with them in setting goals so they accomplish tasks on time, and also homework assignments and things of that nature. So we're also excited about having that coincide with the start of the academic year. For our senior citizens, we're going to have a bunch of classes offered for them, but we're going to do them in a different format. We're going to do them where we're going to show them on TV 36 and TV 42. So the instructors are going to come in, meet with our technology person, Brad, record a session, and then it's going to be viewed on TV 36 and TV 42. One started this past Monday, which is for Senior Citizens Lecture Series, where again, this gentleman, Larry Bash, started this past winter. He was very popular amongst the seniors coming into JTG. So we brought him back, and now we're putting his lecture series again on TV 36 and TV 42. The only thing that we are asking is for seniors to call the office and register in advance, because there are some handouts that will enhance these lecture series. But if they choose not to, they can actually go on TV 36 and 42. They're scheduled for Mondays from 1 to 3 p.m. The first one that happened this week was the pandemic and the U.S. economy. It has one on the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote, which is very applicable this year, being the 100th anniversary. The Electoral College, being again, it's the election year. The impeaching of a president, accidental U.S. presidents, U.S. war presidents. So just to name a few of what Mrs. Bash will be presenting on Mondays from 1 to 3. The only Monday that we don't have one is Columbus Day. So if they tune in to TV 36 and 42 every Monday at 1 o'clock, for those who are interested, they can see the segment. We're also going to be offering sit-asides for seniors. And in the city of Linden, I got to emphasize this, it's classified anybody 50 years or older. So you could be a young senior and still participate in these programs. But our sit-asides class, we're offering 3 classes, also on Mondays from 10 to 11 a.m. and they're October 5th, 19th, and 26th. And also we're asking people to register because we want to start capturing who are watching or participating in our classes. So we want people to sign up so we can contact you when new programs and new offerings could become available, so they can be the first ones to find out about the new offerings. And lastly, for senior citizens, we're going to do a grab and go crafting corner. Again, the segments will be pre-recorded, and these are going to be on Wednesdays in the fall. And prior to the class, after they register, they'll arrange a curbside pickup at JTG. We will give them all the materials for the kit, and then they can view the Wednesday after they pick up the kit for the instructions to how to put the kit together. One's a catch-all trinket box, which is November 4th. The first one is face mask necklaces. With everybody wearing the COVID mask, they're coming up with a necklace to help keep it on your face as opposed to just elastic bands. That's going to be on October 21st. And the last one is Grapevine Snowman Wreath. And that's going to be held on Wednesday, November 18th. All of them are start times at 10 o'clock until the conclusion of the instruction. So those are just a few things that we put together for the fall in a virtual platform model. We're continuing to work on things for the winter if this continues. We also have 1 or 2 surprises leading up to Halloween that we're working on. We can't announce it yet because we're still in the planning stage, but hopefully that'll be announced soon. And that's all I have to report.
Let me ask you a question about when you mentioned Halloween at the tail end there. Has the committee decided not to have the parade, or is the parade still going to happen?
The parade will be canceled, but we're coming up with alternative programming to still celebrate the Halloween spirit during that time.
So it is canceled.
Those are the things I can't announce at this time because they're not totally finalized.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Dunhamn for recreation? Okay. And what's that? No word, right, as far as the facilities being open?
That is correct.
All right, so I'm what Nancy has to say. She's gonna be up next. Our health officer, Miss Koblis, is here, and I would just ask her to, give us an update. I know that today the governor was on Facebook and he had a meeting with Anthony Fauci, who's supposed to be the resident expert, and he said that New Jersey was doing quite well, with our COVID cases not rising and whatnot. So as soon as Nancy's audio is connected, I'm gonna go to her. But Lieutenant, there you go. I've been asking to put you on camera. You have to unmute yourself. All right, Nancy, we're going to go to Nancy real fast. Nancy, we want to ask you to give us an update on the COVID situation in Linden. Like I was saying, the governor today had a call on Facebook with New Jersey was supposedly doing quite well. However, I don't even know what our update is in Linden. So if you could just, give us an update on, do we have any new cases active, what are we tracing and whatnot?
Sure. Right now, fortunately in Linden here, we are receiving very few new cases. We average, most days we're getting 0 to 1. If we see 2 or 3, it's usually within the same family. And once we receive a case, our nurses interview the case and find out all the contacts, and we do reach out and do all the contact tracing. That's what, as related to the schools, that's what would happen with that. We would do the contact tracing for any child in school that would be positive, so that anyone that needed to be on quarantine due to a close contact exposure would be notified by us.
Okay.
And right now we are, they are starting discussions. We have daily conference calls with the state health department, and they are starting planning calls for when the vaccination does become available. It's in the early stages, so I really don't have any particulars on it, but it is in the planning stages.
Yeah, I'm not personally comfortable with the COVID vaccine right now, but yeah. So
yeah, we have to plan, even though we may not feel that it's the right time for it yet. But we are also starting our regular seasonal flu shot program. We don't have exact dates set yet, but we're asking residents to call and register, and then we'll reach out to them and let them know where and when to come. Due to limited buildings being open, we were planning on doing them actually at the Gregorio Center, but it'll be a walk-up clinic so that people won't gather in the building.
What's the telephone number to the health department, Ms. Koblis?
Pardon me?
The telephone number to your department.
Sure, is 908-474-8409.
Okay. And so the flu vaccination clinics will be announced, and if anybody has any questions, they can call you. Are we still doing, I think we had missed our spring pet vaccinations. Are we doing that this fall?
Yeah, actually, we had to cancel the ones that we usually do in May. So I've set up 2 programs that are coming up beginning of October. The first one will be October the 8th, and that's going to be from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Firehouse on Chandler Avenue and Elizabeth Avenue. And the second one will be October 15th, and that's going to be from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Firehouse at 302 Southwood Avenue. This is for rabies vaccinations, and it's no charge, and it's for both cats and dogs.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for the health officer? Well, there you go. Thank you, Nancy. We appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Before we go to the Linden Police Department, who we always reserve for the closer of the meetings, we had expected Mrs. Nicole Dirado to be on our meeting from the Union County Board of Elections. However, She had circumstances that did not allow for her to attend. So what I'll do instead is I will give the information specific to what I want to talk about on the election, but I want you guys to give me 2 seconds because I do have a little public service announcement that I want to share real quick. And let me see if I can find it. I think it's here. I can't find it. Let me see. Give me one moment. Oh, I have to read it for you. Hold on. Are you guys seeing my screen or no? Can you guys see my screen? No? Okay. Can you guys see the screen? Yeah? Maybe? Okay, thanks, Noble. This is my first time voting. What are you waiting for? Let's go to Jersey, vote! Voting deadline is October 13th. This is a very important election. Rock your vote. Yes, that was our public service announcement. The last day to register to vote. Sorry, is it still sharing? Is that me? I think that's me. Sorry. Sorry about that. The last day is October 13th. And let me just read to you what Mrs. Dirado had prepared for us. It is, if you have not received your ballot yet, check your mail because they are coming out. I received my ballot yesterday, and all registered voters will automatically receive a vote by mail ballot, no matter what. They're going to be 10 drop boxes. Linden is going to have a drop box here in our city. So when you hear on the news that, there's a slowdown of ballots being returned through the Postal Service, you don't need to worry about that. Starting sometime next week, there's going to be a secure drop box located at the Raymond Wood Bauer Promenade, and you can leave your ballot in there. Okay, the voters can also check and see if, this is the deadline, after September 15th, where do they vote? If they're not sure, you can also register now to vote online. You can also change your address on your voting online. If you don't want to return your ballot to the outdoor secure mailbox that's going to be in Linden, you can always deliver your ballot to the county clerk's office, either on Broad Street at the courthouse or the Board of Elections, which is close to the main post office in Elizabeth, or in the Westfield Annex of the county clerk. Be reminded that if you're going to take your ballot in person and deliver it, you have to provide identification, okay? And so that's what we have there. But again, everyone still has an opportunity to register to vote up until October 13th. The online procedure is awesome. It's pretty simple, actually. But the paper ballots registrations are still being accepted in case someone does not have the appropriate ID for New Jersey. Like if they just moved to Jersey, they can't put in the ID on the computer. They can still use the paper form. The deadline is the 13th. If you have not done your census in Linden, please do your census by September 30th. I believe it's the deadline. Everyone is counted. There are no immigration questions. It's going to help us also in our city when it comes to what we get at the state and, technically the federal level at the end of the day. So if you know someone who may not have done their census, ask them just to do it. It's every 10 years, we all need to be counted. Right? From the 5th Ward, another update that I wanted to give, I don't know who saw or did not see the council meeting. We in the 5th Ward have a number of streets that are still on the Traffic Bureau's investigation. list. So for speeding and other nuisances, the streets are on the list. And I know that with the schools not being open, some of the streets are going to have light traffic. But in the meantime, just be aware that our streets are making it to the top of the list slowly but surely. We also have a couple of streets that are going to be paved here in the 5th Ward. Fay Avenue is not going to be paved until sometime probably after the first of the year. But Fay Avenue is going to have rumble strips on it. And that's going to be to slow down the traffic as well. I did want to announce October 17th is going to be the 5th annual cancer awareness. We're gonna do virtual, I guess you can say, virtual cancer awareness. If anybody registers, it's tax deductible donations, and excuse me, I had to catch my breath. The donation is tax deductible. We're gonna help a resident with their, bills related to cancer. I know chemotherapy is very expensive, and we have a neighbor in town who could benefit. If people want to make a donation, they can do that. The information is on the screen. It's also on Facebook. And for some reason, none of my notices make it to the city's website or the city's social media. But if anyone is interested, you can always send an email to our Cosby at linden-nj.org, and I can, send you all the information and updates that we have. But the walkers, I'll be walking live. Anybody wants to join me is welcome to join me. I'll be at Wheeler Park at 9 a.m. If you register, you can also walk a mile and celebrate a survivor. You can honor, someone who you lost to cancer, or just, celebrate survival. Yep. What else do I have? I think that's it from the 5th Ward. Yeah, I think that's it. We have a couple of streets too that we have submitted for trees. I'm waiting to get the list back from the Shade Tree Commission. I haven't received that yet. I know that we have requested a number of years in a row, specifically Bernard Avenue, and we're still waiting, hopefully, to get some trees in the 500 block, as well as a couple other places. But again, the powers that be, I can make the request. They're supposed to come out and check our locations and give us trees. And if they are not, then, that's a problem that we have with the Shade Tree Commission, essentially. All right. Let me just see what this is. Oh, here's Mrs. Dirado right here. She just joined us. Hold on a second. Okay. Hi, Nicole. The police go real quick, and then I will give you the floor. I just read off some generic information about Linden and the location of the Dropbox. But after our Linden Police Lieutenant gives her information, you will have the floor. Okay. Lieutenant?
Hi, everyone.
Of course.
Thank you for having me at the meeting. Thank you, Councilwoman Cosby. For those of you that don't know, I'm Lieutenant Nicole Melchionna. I'm one of the night shift patrol commanders. I have a few community updates that I'll provide. We have the crime stat report for the month of August. In the city, in the month of August, we've had 3 robberies, 3 sex offenses, 3 aggravated assaults, 2 weapons offenses, 1 residential burglary, 1 commercial burglary, 30 motor vehicle burglaries, 8 stolen motor vehicles. Included in those offenses, in the 5th Ward, you guys had 1 weapons offense, 1 stolen motor vehicle, and 3 motor vehicle burglaries. So with all those motor vehicle burglaries that I just mentioned across town, we'd like to remind the residents to lock their vehicles, hide any and all valuables that you have inside the car, take all your valuable possessions out, and close all your windows. Please call the police if you see any suspicious activity, such as anyone pulling on door handles, looking into car windows, possibly bumping into the cars, checking for alarm systems. Please feel free to give us a call and have us respond to the area. In response to the violent crimes that we've experienced with all the shootings that have been going on, the department has created a ceasefire detail, which consists of extra patrols, and they are specifically to enforce the quality of life issues that we're having around the city. In addition, PSE&G will be visiting the parks to make sure all the lights are working properly, as well as adding additional lighting. So over the next couple of weeks and months, you may see PSE&G out there, and also will be installing surveillance cameras in the 4th Ward Park. The Councilwoman asked me to speak on the Street of the Week program. The Traffic Bureau recently started what they call the Street of the Week program. This program involves focused, data-driven behavior to improve traffic safety upon our roadways. So the Traffic Bureau is going to be going ward by ward, addressing traffic violations on what they call the Street of the Week. So the residents can provide their streets to the respective council representative, who will then submit the problem streets to the Traffic Bureau. The Traffic Bureau will collect the data, and they will determine if that street needs enforcement. If your street is selected, the enforcement will last for 1 week. Then post data is collected to see if the enforcement had an impact that the residents wished for. The Traffic Bureau also has the HIGHT unit. It's a high intensity traffic enforcement unit. They also dedicated to traffic enforcement and roadway safety. I'm sure some of you have seen them out there. I'd also like to mention that if everyone, like all the residents don't know, due to COVID, we have streamlined an online reporting system. So under the new program, the residents are able to report certain incidents by completing an online form. And the forms are reviewed during normal business hours, Monday through Friday. Please remember and advise your residents that emergencies and reports of crimes that are in progress should still be reported using the 911 system. But the online reporting gives the residents the convenience to make the reports from the comfort of their own home. And it also reduces the need for officers to unnecessarily enter a residence. The department accepts online reports for emergency incidents that occur within the city. So it has to happen in town for us to take the report, and they don't involve injury or require immediate police assistance. In those instances, we obviously want people calling the police so we could respond as quickly as possible. I have a few examples of reports that can be done online. We have listed here theft up to $75,000. Criminal mischief reports can be recorded online. If you have lost or damaged property, and other non-emergency incidents can also be reported. The residents can find the form on our department website under File a Citizen Report tab. We also participate in Nixle, so sign up for Nixle if you don't have Nixle. We put out updates and street closures and emergencies that arise on a daily basis. And we also have anonymous tips as well. You could go onto the website and report an anonymous tip that we will respond to. Obviously, your response won't be as quick if you call the police. You'll obviously get a quicker response if you call the police or you use the 911 system. The non-emergency police line is 908-474-8500. That concludes the police updates that I have for today. As always, we strive to build community relations, positive community relations, and we're very thankful for the residents for your continued support.
Let me ask you a question. I saw a posting, I didn't read it, but is there some sort of a push now for virtual block watch?
I don't have any information on that. I know we do have neighborhood watch, and we have virtual. I know we have virtual. It's a virtual camera watch that residents can submit to us their address, and we will know that they have camera systems set up in the area. This way, if the Detective Bureau is investigating a crime on that block, we know which residents to go to, and we know that they're willing to let us use their camera system.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep. Thank you very much. Does anybody on the panel or Miss Nilda, you have any questions? Nilda is one of our neighbors, and she's awesome. She always comes to the community meetings. But so she's here. I know she has some concerns about, she lives in the 5th Ward where the second speed hump was installed. I think no, that was the second one that was put in.
Yeah, there was one right in front of our house put in. But
Yeah.
they're still speeding, and we still are hearing the cars scraping against the speed bump. And, you know, the traffic is really bad here, you know. I don't know if the speed bump is helping or if it's making it worse. It wakes us up in the middle of the night. That's how loud it is.
Say again.
Which street was that?
On Dill.
Dill Ave?
Right, yeah, right off of Alexander.
Dill and Alexander.
Yeah.
Is there any specific time frame that you noticed it?
This is all throughout the day. So, you know, we're hearing it even late at night. It sounds really like it's a highway here. The cars are speeding. They're going so fast. We can hear it. It really wakes us up out of our sleep.
Okay, I'll definitely pass that information on to all the patrol shifts, and we'll do some extra enforcement on our end from the patrol unit. But if you haven't already, I advise you to, you know, have Councilwoman Rhashonna Cosby send it to the Traffic Bureau as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to put them in for a study, but it's probably going to be at the bottom of the list, Nilda. But I mean, the police prioritize, so. But
It's on the list.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think the humps did improve for the most part, but now you have the knuckleheads who don't know our city. And
Yeah, we're getting, new people coming off of St. George, you know, coming right into this street. So.
Yeah, so we were actually trying to get Alexander to be a one-way going up to St. George.
Yeah, I remember. It was a while back.
I added it again.
Oh, okay.
That would probably help too, because they're cutting down Alexander trying to get the other side. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Okay. And they're stealing also here too. Down the block, they stole the lady's hubcap off of her car in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of incidents involving vehicles and vehicle thefts and burglaries. I don't know if you heard before, but we've had an extreme amount of burglaries. And I know for sure, because I'm the patrol commander at night, that we do extra area checks. And like I said, we do have that special enforcement detail, and we've stepped up the patrols in the area.
Okay, so they drive through at nighttime just to check, like random checking?
Yeah, absolutely. We have our regular 9 district patrol cars on a regular basis. And in addition, we now have the 2 additional ceasefire units. They'll be in unmarked vehicles as well, so you might not recognize them. Our height unit as well, they're out there, and they're in unmarked cars as well, so you might not recognize them either. But we are out there patrolling the streets.
It's good to know. I've also made complained about noise on Caroline Avenue. They're very, very loud. This happens a couple of times during the week where the music is so loud. I've called the cops, and I don't know if they've ever come out, but they have their music blasting during the week at like maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning on the weekends. And it's so loud that, you know, we can hear them, and we're on Dill and they're on Caroline. It's really ridiculous. So I've complained about that too.
Yeah, my suggestion is obviously that when you hear the noise, to please call us. This way we could address it as soon as possible. The other option that you do have, I don't know if you would want to take this route, but you could sign a citizen complaint against whoever is making the noise.
You just opened a whole can of worms, Lieutenant. I just want you to know that. Not for Hilda, but I'm talking about for other folks. Trust me. Somebody who got tickets written by the janitor, but yeah, oh goodness. All right, we're gonna make Nilda.
What is that?
Make sure you call, because as long as there's a record, then you know.
I did call one night because I couldn't sleep. It was like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I called the cops. I'm not sure if they came out. I ended up going to sleep, and the noise was still going on. So I don't know if the cops ever came out, or if they came out later. Sometimes if you come out too late, then the music is stopped. Then, you know, then you don't see anything when you come out.
I got you. Well, thank you very much for your input.
Sure.
Mrs. Dirado was able to join us. So we are going to give her the floor. I did talk just the basics, Nicole. So you can speak to the specifics as far as not having a machine and who's allowed to vote provisionally and whatnot like that. So.
I will. Yes, thank you. And thank you for inviting me. First, I just wanted to remind everybody that the voter registration deadline is approaching. It is October 13th. Voters can register in our office in person, in the municipal clerk's office. If the municipal clerk, is the town hall open? City hall open? No, it's not. Okay. Well, you can download the application and send it in to us. Or for the first time this year, New Jersey has begun online voter registration. If you go to njelections.org, you can register to vote online. Finally joining a whole host of other states who have online voter registration. In terms of an update for this election, all voters countywide, active registered voters, will automatically receive a vote by mail ballot in the mail. The county clerk's office is mailing over 300,000 ballots for this election. It's my understanding Linden is dropping today. It looks like it went in the mail yesterday. So it should be hitting homes today. Your options for returning your vote by mail ballot is to put it in the post office as soon as possible. You can return it to my office or either of the county clerk's offices in person. You need a New Jersey issued ID card or a New Jersey driver's license. You can, for the first time ever, bring it to the polling location on election day and hand it. You'll have to wait in line. You'll have to sign a book. You'll have to log it in. And your poll worker will take it from you and they will deposit it in a secure transfer box. And finally, we have our expanded drop boxes for this election. The executive order called for Union County to have a total of 13 in this election, at least that the state was paying for. But we worked very quickly and we were competing with other states who are trying to gobble up those drop boxes, and we were able to secure one for every municipality in Union County. So Linden's drop box is coming next week. I'm sorry if it was just, if this was a few days later, I would tell you where it is, but the councilwoman can make her own big announcement next week. But my concern is that if we announce it, people are going to go look for it and they're going to be upset that it's not there, further feeding the rumors about all the mistrust that people are trying to breed in this election cycle. So to avoid that, we are going to wait and we can make the announcement as soon as it's open. I promise, check our Facebook pages, check our website. You will have a Dropbox in town very close to the municipal building, but not a part of the municipal. Oh, did you spill the beans? All right, well, now you know. So that being said, please don't tell anybody else. Okay.
Let me ask a question while I have you on that. So let me say so someone who does not live in Linden, right, but may work in Linden, are they able to deliver it there too for any place in the state? And
no.
Okay.
So any of the drop boxes throughout the county are for Union County voters.
Okay.
We had that situation in the primary, right? Somebody actually did, we got an Essex County ballot, and Essex County got one of our ballots. Now, Essex County overnighted it to us and our commissioners voted to approve the ballot. We don't know how Essex County voted, whether or not to approve that ballot. It's a chain of custody issue. Our board felt that it went from the custody of one election office directly to the custody of our election office. So they felt the chain of custody was intact. But that's something that gets voted on from the board. So now you're really just waiting and postponing when your vote gets counted, right? So just do the right thing, put it in a Union County Dropbox. You can put it in anyone you want. It does not have to be in Linden. If you work in another town in the county and you want to drop it in there, do that. We pick them up every day. I have a bipartisan team whose job it is to go around the county and take the ballot container that's inside the Dropbox, lock it up, bring it back to the office, and put a fresh empty box inside the container. They are under 24/7 surveillance, which is what we are waiting for. We're waiting on the completion of the camera surveillance system in the promenade. And as soon as that's done, our building services folks were awesome, have been awesome, and they will get right out there and install the box. So polling locations on election day, if you do decide to go to the polls on election day, you will be provided with a paper ballot. The paper ballot that the poll worker is going to give you is exactly the one that you're going to get at your home. So in the interest of keeping everybody safe and well, and especially if we're going to be increasing an uptick in COVID cases as the scientists and medical professionals are predicting, stay home, vote your ballot, mail it in, get it to a Dropbox. It's much better than standing in line at a polling location to complete the same exact piece of paper that you're going to get in the mail. The voting machines are reserved for persons with disabilities, and the disability has to preclude the voter from being able to vote on a paper ballot. Some examples are voters who are blind. They will have access to an ADA accessible voting machine, and they will be provided with an assistive hearing device, and the machine will read the entire ballot to them and walk them through processing their vote. Another example, if somebody has suffered a stroke or has Parkinson's and their disability really prevents them from filling in the circle, having that dexterity to fill in the circle next to the candidate's name. So those are just some examples. Somebody may come in and say, I have sciatica, I have a handicap sticker on my car. That is not a disability that prevents somebody from voting on a piece of paper. And the voter will have to certify to the fact that they cannot vote on a piece of paper. So get your ballot in as soon as possible. The other update I have is not to expect any results, any meaningful results on election night. Although the executive order allows us to start counting ballots 10 days before election day, we are, there's the voter registration online portal. Although we're able to start counting votes 10 days before, we're going to start opening them 10 days. We won't start counting them because opening them is really the labor intensive, time consuming part. But the executive order, which was then codified in statute, allows us to continue to accept ballots for 6 days after election day. So if the ballot is postmarked on or before election day and received in our office by November 10th, it can still be counted. So that's, over the last couple of elections, we have seen this enfranchise over thousands of voters. So it's a great thing where the governor and the legislature have recognized that while the voter is doing the right thing to bring their ballot in to make sure it gets counted, it allows for the deficiencies that we may see in the post office merely because of the overwhelming volume that we're going to experience in this election. Not because the post office is deficient, just because the volume, even before any of the other things we've heard about. So not getting political on that matter. And that's most of what I have. in terms of what to expect for this election cycle. Your ballots are coming, get them in early, you know, get it voted, get it off your desk and into our office.
I agree. And I have something that my son did just for you.
Uh-oh.
So I'm gonna show you. I showed it to the folks earlier, but it's hilarious. Let me see if I can find it. There he is. All right, Nicole, check them out.
This is my first time voting in 2021. What are you waiting for?
He's all enthusiastic, so
That's awesome.
he's happy. So,
That's right. Get out and vote. What are you waiting for?
what are you waiting for? Nobody, I'm looking on Facebook, I don't see any questions, and the folks are gonna see it later or whatever. But I wanted to just say to you guys who took the time, I appreciate you. Thank you very, very much, as always, to participate. I mean, this is for the community, and that's why we're here. So I wanted to just say thank you guys for participating.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Look, I'm rolling credits. This is awesome, right? So thanks again, everybody. And I put the contact information up, except for everybody but you, Nicole. What is the number to your office if anybody has any questions?
908
Mhm.
527 4123.
4123.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And
All right. Thank you.
soon.
Be well.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care. Mhm.